Abram and his wife left Egypt and traveled north into the Negev. They took Lot with them, as well as all their belongings. Abram was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. They then continued traveling in stages toward Bethel, to the place that was between Bethel and Ai, where they had camped before. This was where Abram had built the altar, there where he worshipped the Lord again. Lot was also very rich with sheep, cattle, and many tents, but the land could not support both Abram and Lot with all their flocks and herds living so close together. There were too many animals for the available pasture land. An argument broke out between Abram and Lot. At that time, the Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land. Abram had then talked it over with Lot. "This arguing between our herdsmen has to stop," he said. "After all, we are all close relatives. I'll tell you what we'll do. Take your choice of any section of land that you want, and we will separate. If you want that area over there, then I will stay here. If you want to stay in this area here, then I will move on to another place." Lot took a long look at the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley in the direction of Zoar. The whole area was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord, or the beautiful land of Egypt. This was before the Lord had destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot had chosen the Jordan Valley to the east of them. He went there with his flocks and servants. So while Abram stayed in Canaan, Lot moved his tents to a place near Sodom. The people of this area sinned greatly against the Lord and were unusually wicked. When Lot had left, the Lord then said to Abram, "Look as far as you can in every direction. I am going to give all this land to you and your offspring as your permanent possession. I am going to give you so many descendants that, like dust, they cannot be counted. Take a walk in every direction and explore the new possessions that I am giving you." Abram then moved his camp to the oak grove owned by Mamre, which is at Hebron. There he built an altar to the Lord. War broke out about this time in the region. King Amraphel of Babylonia, King Arioch of Elasa, King Kedorlaomer of Elam, and King Tidal of Goyim fought against King Bera of Sodom, King Birsha of Gomorrah, King Sinab of Admah, King Shember of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is now called Zoar. The kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboilim, and Bela formed an alliance and mobilized their armies in the Siddim Valley. This is the valley of the Dead Sea. They had been subject to King Kedorlaomer for 12 years, and they rebelled in the 13th year. 1 year later, Kedorlaomer had arrived with his allies. They had conquered the Rephaites in Ashtaroth Karnaim, the Emites in the plain of Karithaim, and the Horites in Mount Seir, as far as Al-Paran at the edge of the wilderness. Then they went around to En-Mishpat, which is now called Kadesh, and destroyed the Amalekites and the Amorites living in Hazazon Tamar. But the army of the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Bela prepared for the battle in the valley of the Dead Sea against King Kedorlaomer, the kings of Goyen, Babylonia, and Elazar. It was 4 kings against 5 kings. The valley was filled with tar pits as this happened. As the army of the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some of them had slipped into the tar pits, while the rest escaped into the mountains. Sodom and Gomorrah were plundered by the victorious invaders, and they began their journey home, taking all the wealth and food with them. They had also captured Lot, Abram's nephew, who lived in Sodom, and took everything that he owned. one of the men had managed to escape and went to tell Abram the Hebrew, who was camped at the oak grove belonging to Mamre the Amorite. Mamre and his relatives Eshcol and Aner were Abram's allies. When Abram heard that Lot had been captured, he called together the men born in his household, 318 of them all. They chased after Chedorlaomer's army until they caught up with them in Dan. There he divided his men and attacked during the night from several directions. Chedorlaomer's army then fled, but Abram had chased them to Hobah, north of Damascus. Abram and his allies recovered everything that had been taken from Lot, as well as Lot and everyone that was taken with him. As Abram had returned from his victory over Chedorlaomer, the king of Sodom had come out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh. Then Melchizedek, who is the king of Salem, and a priest of God Most High, brought him bread and wine. Melchizedek then blessed Abram. Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has helped you conquer your enemies. Abram then gave Melchizedek a tenth of all the goods that he had recovered. The king of Sodom told him, "Give back my people who were captured, but you may keep all the goods that you have recovered for yourself." Abram replied, "I have solemnly promised the Lord, God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will not take so much as a single thread or sandal from you. Otherwise you might say, I am the one who made Adam rich. All I will accept is what these young men of mine have already eaten. But give a share of the goods to my allies."